What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my Mid-Atlantic Championship recap. Had quite a few exciting things happen, and of course it was an absolutely amazing competition. Definitely, I think, top 3 for me at the very least. But it's right up there and past even some nationals and North American championships. And of course, I spent a lot of my time at this competition on stream, so I actually had a pretty unique experience, and it's unlike any other competition I've really been to in terms of just what I was doing outside of solving. But yeah, thank you so much to Carter for letting me cast as much as I could. I think I was on for quite a bit of all 3 days, maybe a little bit less on the last day, just because I was preparing myself for Mega Minx finals and Pyraminx finals, and definitely Cube finals, of course. So, some of you might not know, but I did not compete in quite a few of the events just because I wanted to be on stream instead. So I didn't compete in 2x2, clock, 7x7. I signed up for 6x6, but then didn't compete. And OH as well, I didn't compete in. But let's just go down the list of my results from the competition. So for 3x3, round 1 was pretty bad for me. I had an 11.23 average, but round 2, absolutely wonderful. 9 flat average, and I counted an 863 with a 777 single. Felt very good about it. And then semifinals, I got 10.13 average. My first off was an 8.49, so I was actually feeling really good about that because it wasn't anything crazy on the scramble. But then, yeah, just fell apart. And of course, I didn't really have a shot at making finals. I would have had to PR average by a lot, but I'll take what I have, and I'll look forward towards Colonial Cube Day Clash, I believe it's called, because I'm pretty high up on the 3x3 psych sheet for that. But yeah, 3x3 is definitely something I've been practicing a lot post-competition, just trying to get ready for that competition since I have a pretty good shot at podium and maybe like a 5% chance of a win, but probably not. So yeah, I've actually been averaging like mid-8 quite a bit, which I was right before the competition, but then the competition didn't go so well. I could make an excuse and say it's because I didn't have time to, prep because I was on stream, but that's just not the case because I was able to perform pretty well on a lot of other events, even considering my stream dedication. Speaking of, 4x4 first round went pretty alright for me. I got a 37.95 average with a 35 single, and I got a 35 in round 2 as well, but a 39 average. So I was feeling pretty good about 4x4 actually because like the solves themselves, I felt like I was actually solving pretty slow. And like I was making mistakes here and there. I was like, oh, this is not going to be a good solve. This is going to be pretty slow. And then I stopped the timer, and it's still a 30-second solve. And, I'll definitely take that. I'm not sure really what I average at home because I haven't really done too much practicing lately. But if I can retain sub 40, then that's good for me. And a top 30 finish, I'll take. It's not something I'm super interested in, at least my placings in 4x4 and 5x5, for example. But it's nice to take what you can get. Speaking of 5x5, I got a 109 average and a 102 single with absolutely zero prep for 5x5. Those were my first 5x5 solves of the day, and my second one was almost sub 1. That 102, I felt it. I really did feel it until some like minor mistakes on last layer, and I did have edge parity. So it could have happened. It's going to happen in this future very soon. Just next competition I get a chance to prep 5x4, I'm going to go for sub 1 because I'm really excited at how close I'm getting with absolutely zero practice. And I'll sub 110 average. That's about what my goal was for the competition. So it's nice to have, but it was pretty inconsistent, so I'll look to do a little bit better, but nothing crazy with 5x5, and it's not an event I focus on. And so I'll go a little bit out of order here because Square 1 is at the very bottom of the WCA list, but it's just something I didn't pay too much attention to that weekend. And I got an 18.51 average with a 17.11 single. It was surprisingly consistent. I got a lot of 17s and accounting 20 at the end actually, but regardless, I probably should have practiced more. If I practiced just a little bit, I probably could have gotten like a 14 average. Square 1 is one of those events where like if I don't practice, I'm gonna be 4 seconds slower than if I do practice. So it's quite an interesting event for me, but it's not something I cared too much about because this competition, being on stream and all, I wanted my priorities to be like Skewb, stream commitment, and then Megaminx / Pyraminx. And I think that went over pretty well because next event, Megaminx, I got a PR average first round, 53.44. That's only PR by like 0.15 or something like that. So I wasn't super happy with it because it did feel pretty slow, and I didn't get a sub 50 solve all competition. So I was pretty upset about. But I got another 54 average in second round and finished 8th overall at the competition. And I didn't really prep Megaminx too much that final day, so I'll take it, I guess. But the solves felt really, really slow, even though on my profile they look like they're my fastest average, my fastest and third fastest average and whatever. But they still feel slow. I'm really not where I want to be at for Megaminx quite yet. But for Pyraminx, I had an absolute field day with this event. First round, I got 7th with a 387 average, and that was my first sub 4 average since 2022. So it's been quite a while, but I felt really, really good on the way along, and I got that at NAC after I competed in Pyraminx at NAC. So, you know, this was my first time competing with my new main, and it went over very well. I got a 285 single as well. Yeah, I was very happy with that average. Second round, 439 average. Wasn't great. 256 single though, but it was good enough to get me into finals. I placed 11th. It was my worst average of the competition, and that's still a low 4 average. So I think at this point, with what I've been averaging at home, is like high 3, mid to high 3. 4.3 should be thought of as really slow for me. So lastly, though, in finals, I got a 320 PR average by a lot, by like 0.39. I think that's how much I PR'd by, with a 256 single. It felt absolutely wonderful. Very solid every solve. That average is up on my channel, but I'll show a bit of it here while I talk about it. But yeah, my first solve was a 329. Just felt fairly smooth. And, you know, I think these scrambles were surprisingly good, at least in my eyes, of someone who's not, you know, world class. I can't see everything. And just what I can see, I like a lot. So that's why my second solve was a 386, and that was the worst solve of the average. So, you know, pure sub 4 average, I will absolutely take. Not on my bucket list for the competition, but very happy with it. And 306, 325, and 256 to finish it off. And yeah, I already knew by the 325 that this was probably PRable or like in that range. So I just got like sub 3.8. And then I just got my best solve, BPA, 320 on the dot, and absolutely lovely. And I think if I wasn't already interested in Pyraminx as like a second event, I definitely am now. I think at the moment it's both Pyraminx and Megaminx right there, decently behind Skewb in terms of my priority and how much I practice them, but I enjoy them about the same, I think, at this point. And I'm very happy to finish 7th in Pyraminx as well. None of my Pyraminx results were on my bucket list for this competition, and I'm very, very happy. It's a very nice surprise. And Colonial Cube Day Clash has both Pyr and Mega. I can win Megaminx, hopefully. There's a chance, but I'm not sure. I can at least, I think second is pretty safe. And Pyraminx third place seems pretty safe for me as well. But maybe a shot at second, I don't know. Colonial is one of those competitions I can get a lot of podiums at. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it'll be really fun. And then of course, the main event for me, Skewb. Absolutely excellent results, at least in my mind, first round and finals. So first round was a 273 average with a 177 single. Honestly, if you've seen the description of my average for that I uploaded, the video, you'll see I didn't like any of the solves other than the 2 sub 2s, and that still holds true. Going back and rewatching and looking at the solutions, my 331, 390, and 289 really should have been a lot faster. The 390 just shouldn't have happened, but oh well. And but the 198 and the 177 were very, very solid, and so let's reconstruct that entire average.
8 seconds.
Alright, so that was the first solve. It was a 331, and as you can tell from the scramble, there's really not too much other than this red block that works. There's this orange, which is 6 moves to a swirl. That's not very good. Blue is not much good either. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to another swirl. It's a little bit better, but the rotation and angle of it all is not to my liking. Which, of course, I didn't see any of this, but these are just what could have happened. I really saw this red and looked around and just immediately stuck with it. But it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is the least amount of moves to this, which, considering my comfortability with this case, I actually felt pretty fine about the way I executed it and finished with a 331. I was a bit slow to recognize it, but yeah, I just... those split-second, like, thoughts are the things I need to work on, because that definitely could have been sub 3. But, oh well. Second solve, quite a few people found this solution, but it wasn't immediately obvious to me. Yeah, as you can tell, there's quite a few options that are, you know, 4 or 5 moves. Like this orange here, 1, 2, 3, 4. To, admittedly, also a good case. There's this red as well, 3, 4, to a worse case, and so on and so forth. But the double sledge is on blue, and it's a little obvious. You'd have to trace some corners to one look at, but you can see that this center is going to stay, this center is going to stay, this center is going to stay, because they're all connected to their respective corners. And so you can just kind of tell, and you can see that this one would be coming around to, sorry, here. And yeah, you just have to trace 2 corners, which I didn't do, but I did see that it was going to be a pure peanut or pie, so might as well do it, because it's going to be a good time either way. And perfect angle, and yeah, that is a 198. My recognition was not great, to be honest. It definitely could have been faster, but again, I'll take a 198 any day. Alright, well, interestingly, I am unable to find my solution for this solve. It could be due to a misscramble, but it also could be due to something else. But I know from the video I did orange, and every solution I can try on orange here, that I have tried on orange here, does not give me the last layer that I got in the video. And my memory at this point is not good enough to tell me anything else. It certainly wasn't that. And I certainly have exhausted my thought process, so it was the worst solved, and it had the worst layer I think I could have put together. But I also don't recognize any of these as cases that I got, so I'm not too sure. No solution for solve 3, unfortunately.
You like it?
Alright, so for solve 4, as you can see, I did red. There wasn't anything else that was really popping out to me, and there still isn't when I'm looking through it now. And, you know, there's this green, which is, you know, 6 moves, but red is 6 moves as well, and it's the 6 moves that I think I'm just a little bit more comfortable with. If I had, I think, a minute, I could definitely one-look this, because it's 2 moves to a sledge from a different angle and so on, but I won't bore you with the details there, or a hedge, sorry. And I just insert this corner, do this, and then, of course, we have this case. It's fairly simple. You just solve green, and then it's a hedge. And that was my 289.
It's
Then, of course, the final solve. It's pretty obvious where the good solution is. And it's obviously blue isn't any good. White is okay, but it's nothing special. And then green, as you can tell, I mean, you can just see that it's going to be a pure case. And then, of course, it's either pure peanut or pure pie. And yeah. Well, now that you've seen my first round average, my second round average is not something that's super worth looking into, in my opinion. It's a 327 average, so it could have been a lot worse, but I'm not very happy with it, especially considering my best solve of the average was a 284. I think my TPS was just really, really off, and my recognition as well. But yeah, counting 357 and 330 is not what I want, and finishing the average with a 507, not good. I'll put it that way. It was worst possible average when BPA was probably like 3.0, 301 or something, so it wouldn't have been sub 3 regardless, but still, I would have appreciated something maybe a little bit quicker. But yeah, first round I placed second, right behind Zane, and second round I placed third behind Aiden, which means I was not on stream for finals, at least not on those front two stages. You still saw a couple of my solves that Carter cut to, so thank you so much. But yeah, 274 average, 227 single, best shot at pure sub 3 that I've had. I know that was on my list of goals in my road to sub 2 video, but it is what it is. I mean, I didn't get it, and that's okay, because finals was really stressful for me, because I thought that there was a pretty good chance that I actually didn't make podium, considering my last round results and how I was feeling going in. But 274 average is absolutely lovely, and you know, start out with a 291. It's kind of slow TPS, but it wasn't the worst solve, of course. And 227, I can't wait to get into that reconstruction in just a bit, because I absolutely love that solve. And then 334 is my worst solve. I had a lockup and some pretty bad recognition, even though it was literally just peanut each turn. Oh well. 334 is the worst solve. It's like not bad at all. I think that's probably one of my fastest, slowest times, if that makes sense. And 288 right after, sorry, and 244 to finish it off. Absolutely lovely solve, and absolutely lovely average for a 274 for second place. Very, very happy with it. So let's get into those recons. Alright, so first solve of my finals average was a 291. This is the scramble, and I did blue here because there's a couple other options that are not too bad, like this white, but it's the regrips are, I think, a little bit more annoying for me than blue, and so I didn't really have to regrip here because you just rotate with this turn. So yeah, you just insert both, and then like that. Execution could have definitely been better on the NS, but first solve, still have jitters, so yeah. And then this is solve 2. You can see that this is obviously the main appeal to most people, is this bar here. But then it has a pretty bad insert for these two corners. And so I instead looked at green, which is a bit less moves and isn't crazy execution-wise. At least I liked it a lot more than this, which is just a lot more moves. So insert, and something like that, and this is right in front of you for execution. And it's actually the same case as the first solve, but of course a different layer. It is very quick TPS for 2.2. This was third solve. There's only really one layer, as you can see, to do, and that's orange, because everything else just has no bar and not really any foundations for a layer. And so you insert this one, put that one up, and then of course you have this, which you can visibly see my lockup and just lack of speed that I had on my second solve. Fourth solve was a 288, and I did white on this solve. It's pretty nice execution-wise, no regrips, and everything else just didn't look great to me. Green has a lot of moves, so does orange. It's a little bit better than green, but White is, I think, the clear option here, so you just do that as the layer, and then execute that on S, which I was, as you can tell, very surprised to do, to get sub 3 on, because I do not like that on S, and should probably find a better algorithm for it, but yeah. And then fifth solve, it has a 2-move layer on blue. That's what pretty much everyone did, I think. There's not really much else. There's a okay white, but like, why would you do that if you have a 2-move blue? And I saw the 2-move blue, and I knew that I was gonna safety. Yeah, just had a little bit of a slow rotation. And actually, let me show that again. After solving the side, I did this, but I knew that there's a cancellation here because you can just do this and then that, so you don't have to complete the hedge and cancel the sledge. And so that's what I did for a 244, and I think that was pretty good for a 274 average. Funnily enough, after that average, I am now 4 for 5 on 2.7 to 2.74 averages in that venue. Because Virginia Champs, I got a 270 in finals, I got a 274 first round, and here I got a 273 first round and 274 final round. I don't know what it is about that venue, but it looks like I'm starting to average 2.7 officially, and I'm all for it. That's the kind of consistency I was talking about in my Road to Sub 2 episode, and very, very happy to weed out the slow averages, even though I still got a 327, but, you know, that just comes down to sort of inconsistencies and, you know, not being in the right mindset, which I will still be working on, of course. And yeah, post-competition, I've actually been working a lot on Scube in terms of one-looking. I've put in a lot of effort already post-competition, and I have a lot of time before I really want to use it in competition, or even I have a competition where I'm going to be able to use it. So I'm pretty happy to actually have this gap where I'm not competing, because it means I can put 100% of my Scube efforts into one-looking and other good tricks. And then yeah, I got to cast the rest of the day and do some interviews with some absolutely lovely people. Shout out Michael and Braden and Sean, absolutely lovely. I think we had Jerry on for a bit, and Carson as well on the earlier days. So yeah, Declan as well. There was a lot of fun people that I got to talk to, and even though I was, you know, on stream for most of the day, I still got to have a really good time with my friends, which I'm very happy to do. So thank you very much to Carter and Eric for, you know, being there for the majority of the time, just to chill with, talk to, and be on stream with. It was absolutely lovely, and I love Clicky Studios so much. I feel very, very thankful for the opportunity that I've gotten for stream and all that. Yeah, I know for sure that's not going to be my last time on a Clicky stream. But yeah, that about wraps up my yapping session, if you will. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.